Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday and welcome to Mind Your Money. If you are watching me or this video or my channel for the very first time, hello and welcome. I am a wife. We have three beautiful children, all boys, and we are documenting our journey towards financial freedom. So on this channel, I talk about all things budgeting concerning personal finance, managing money, saving, and investing. I do have to let you know this little disclaimer. I am not a therapist. I'm not a licensed investment advisor. I cannot give you any legal advice whatsoever, but I can share my personal experience with you and hopefully give you a little bit of knowledge and some tips and tricks that can help you on your financial journey. And one of the viewers had requested us do our Thursday live concerning budgeting with your partner or your spouse. And so I'm going to give you a presentation. Now, every Thursday, there is a live from 12 p.m. Eastern time to 1 p.m. Eastern. So if you like this type of content, if you can pop in even on your lunch break or sometime during the day, go ahead and do that. Make sure to click the thumbs up button. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Check out the join button under this video. There is any of that is interesting to you, you can go ahead and join and you can get budget one-on-ones. We can talk behind the scenes. You can get a little more sneak peek into how we're progressing on our financial journey. And I want to thank everybody for coming in today. Again, if you are new here, my name is Tasha, and I'm hoping to share tips and ideas and just knowledge and information that will help you on your journey. I aim to inspire and encourage everyone. I know that maybe 90% of the viewership is women. So, and I am that we can relate to each other. And I will get to the comments in a few minutes because I definitely don't want to give any chance for hiccups during this live. I do live very close to an airport and airplanes will fly overhead. I have no control over that. And sometimes it does affect the Wi-Fi. So to avoid any technical issues, let's start talking about how to budget with your spouse. Okay, that is the theme or the topic for today's live stream. All right. I know most of the viewers may not be married. You may not have be in a long-term committed relationship, but maybe you can take some of the tips and fit that in with your accountability partner or your best friend, your confidant, someone who is helping you along with your journey. It's important to know that whoever you have as your partner, whoever is your friend or your confidant in this journey, that you can get assistance. And the very first thing that I want to share about this is coming into agreement. So I need to give this disclaimer first before I move on because I don't want anyone to come at me any kind of way. I am a wife and a mother. I am not a stockbroker or an investment advisor. I'm just sharing our personal journey as the way to encourage and inspire you. Okay. I know what it is like and how challenging it can be to be in a relationship because I am in a lifelong committed marriage and I have experienced lots of things, and I'm going to be sharing pieces of some of that with this live today. I am not a therapist. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a friend sharing knowledge and wisdom gained by experience. Okay. And I hope that you all can hear me. I think you can. So let me check the comments to make sure you can hear me. Okay. I hope everybody can hear me. It seems that everybody's talking. And hi, I want to shout out our member, Mandy. Thank you for coming. I appreciate there's anyone else from the membership here, but I want to say hi to all of you. Hello to Lifestyle Makes Sense. I don't know your name, but good day. How are you? Janelle, I want to say hi to you. Desiree, hello. And Angel, I see Angel. Hi, Angel. How are you? Again, please forgive me if there's some little skips here and there. I cannot control the airplanes. I wish I could, but I can't. All right. So getting back to this portion. And hi, Melissa. Hi, Melissa. So again, this disclaimer is really important. I cannot give you financial advice. I'm not a therapist. I'm just a woman who is a mother and a wife, and I know how challenging a relationship can be. All right. The very first thing that I thought about when I got this question from the viewer: how do you budget together? Because say your spouse is your spouse is the saver and you're the spender. How do you do this together? Because maybe you don't feel like you can come into agreement. Well, that's the very first thing that you need to do, because can two walk together without agreeing? Can you really do anything in life unless you have someone to agree with you? It's better that you find some common ground with your partner so that you can be able to reach those goals that you have set. If you're trying to reach $1 million, I'm just shooting a number out here in age, let's say age 50, and you're married and you're trying to get there. Maybe both of you have different strategies. You have different ideas in your head of how you can do it. But if you both agree that this is what we want to be $1 million richer by age 50, or we want to hit a million net worth, or whatever the goal is by 50, then you have to be in agreement that this is what we're doing. Come hell or high water, right? Whatever disagreements happen, whatever happens in life, this is where we're going, and we're going to do it together, right? Simple things that you can do to make this easier for yourself is to start planning together. I know that the best relationships come with two people who are perfectly imperfect and both are completely different from one another. Okay, opposites attract, right? But there are things you need to do together, like planning, budget, brainstorming, setting goals, all of those things. And how do you do that, or when do you do that? By making sure you date each other regularly. Even if you're married, and being married doesn't mean that you stop dating. It means that you have to be more intentional about it, because life gets busy, especially if you have children, and children have all sorts of things, not just going to school and coming home from school, but they have activities, they have desires, they have games, they have recitals, they have music lessons, they have all the things. And in order to keep your relationship strong and make sure you're coming together to have those important money conversations, you definitely need to date regularly. Keep those money conversations serious, because they're important, top priority, but casual. Talk about it when you're in the bed watching a movie together, or you're going out to eat to a dinner. Do things that bring closeness to you. If you're going on a weekend getaway, things like that. Keep those money conversations, and that is going to lead to trusting each other more, because trust is the foundation of any solid relationship. First, my husband and I are believers, so we both believe that God has a purpose for each of us and for our family, right? So we have our trust in God, but then we also must trust each other. Now, building trust can be easy, because if you know that the love is evident, if you know that your love is for real, then there's no hard thing to trust the other. If someone breaches that trust, then again, that's a whole nother conversation. You have to rebuild, but it can be done. All right. So you're planning together, you're keeping your regular dating, you're including your money conversations, your budget, your goals, you're talking about your fears, your likes, your dislikes, all the things, being open and transparent. That will help you build strategies. Now, again, your strategies may be different. One person might really just not like the idea of doing Uber Eats and, all the side hustle things. One person might be the free spirit, where you just want to, live life, right? You don't really care about saving so much because you want to have those good experiences. And another one might be the analytical one, the one who wants to sit down, and your spreadsheet has to be immaculate. You have to have the best calculations. You want to know all the percentages, but that may not be um, exactly what the partner wants. So even if you're on opposite sides of the spectrum or the thing for strategies, as long as the common goal is we want to reach financial freedom, we want to stop living paycheck to paycheck, whatever your money goal is, your strategies may be different, but make sure your goals align with each other. Okay. Because that is what's going to allow the budgeting together, the planning together, the saving together, the investing together be so much easier. And these are simple things. It's simple, and I know it may be difficult because one might be headstrong, one might, you're opposite, right? Your opposites attract, but it's important to start having those conversations on a regular basis. And then you just rinse and repeat. continue to honor each other with how you manage and budget the money. So it's impossible to come into agreement, right? To know that you have to walk together in agreement if you don't honor your partner. As much as you want to honor yourself and you want to be honored, you must honor your partner, even if your partner's strategies are different than yours, even if your partner is the saver and you're the spender, or vice versa. No matter what their differences, your differences, wherever your partner may be weak in one area, you're strong in that area. You can fill the gap and lift up your partner when things get rough. And same thing, wherever you're weak in one area and your partner is stronger, then your partner is going to lift you up. My husband has very good qualities and strengths where I might be lacking in a certain area. I need him to help me there. I am very good at administration. Okay. I can stay organized and I like things to be functional. I guess you could say I'm kind of a type A. I like things to be done in a certain way, in a particular way, and keep a consistent schedule. My husband is not that way. And there are some things about him that's vice versa. He might need me to fill in some gaps for him and he fills in some gaps for me, but that's the important thing. Knowing that you are different, but you have to come into agreement in order for this budgeting thing to work, in order for this money management thing to work. Because, and then for me as an example, I am okay, Mandy, have a good day. I am really hands-on when it comes to the budget. If you watch my budgeting videos, if you watch my channel, you know I'm very hands-on. If it's not a spreadsheet, it's a plain notebook, it's my workbook and a pen, and I'll sit down and I'll set goals and things like that based on what conversations my husband and I have had. He's not about spreadsheets. He doesn't have time for that. He doesn't have time to sit down and go over all these calculations and whatnot. All he knows is I know what his desires are. I know a lot of my desires are the same. We come together, but I'm going to do the actual physical putting things together. But we still meet, and I know and I respect and honor his wishes, and he respects and honors mine. And another thing that I think is very, very important for husbands and wives to do is to have separate spending accounts, because one person is definitely going to be a spender. The other person is going to hold that money under lock and key. Some people are hoarders of money. I will raise my hand and I will be the first person to say, yes, I admit it. I have an aversion to spending money. Spending money sometimes makes me feel nervous, and there's a lot of reason behind that, but that's just a part of, who I am. My husband, on the other hand, is like, if we want it, we're going to get it. And I understand that because that's who he is, and he wants to enjoy and experience life in a certain way. So he helps me in that regard. But I don't want our family account to be drained. So I would suggest, if you are married, and again, I know this was a requested video. I think it was Angel. I think it was you, Angel, who requested it. If I'm wrong, please forgive me. But someone did request this, and I thought it's important to tell you that you should definitely have two separate spending accounts. Your spouse has a spending account where they can do whatever they want with it. You have your own spending account, and then there must be a joint account that the family can operate out of. That's what I do personally, and that's just a suggestion. This is not, again, financial advice, but that's really important. So going back to this presentation, you certainly need to plan together, keep dating on a regular, and when you do date, when you do have those conversations, make sure money is included in that, because you need to know how to build trust with one another and start to develop strategies for how to reach the goals that you've set. Even if you don't agree on the little fine things, there's a proverb that says, small foxes spoil the vine. Those little tiny disagreements, don't let those things hinder you. And then repeat, continue to honor each other by planning, keeping the conversation open, building trust, and developing strategies for where you want to go. Okay, so how do you get there? Well, the first thing you have to do is communicate. Communicate what's most important to you, and let your spouse communicate what's most important to them. And listening is key, because communication is not simply about talking. It's also about listening. And listening is very, very important, because and I feel like I said this to my son, my youngest son, earlier. God gave us two ears and one mouth for a reason, right? You understand? So we can listen more than we speak. Listening, there's a power in that, because when we understand our spouse, we can know when and where to compromise. Okay? Because there are going to be times when you'll need to compromise. You need to know that both of you are important. How can two walk together unless they agree? And another very important thing, especially when it comes to money, you need to know what your love language is, or love languages, because I do believe we can have more than one, and know what your partner's love language is, or love languages are. One of my children, and this is an important relationship, but one of my children, their love language is gifts and getting things, because that's how they perceive and feel and receive love. And that can be pretty expensive. Another one of my children loves physical touch. He loves to get hugs. He loves to cuddle and those sort of things. And now that we know that, we know how to add certain things within our budget. One person might get a little more spending money than the other. Why? Because their love language is different. So when you communicate, you can compromise. You can create a budget that makes sense for you two together. I use my children as an example, but you can, use this how you need to for your spouse. Okay. And then speak life, because you communicating, you're listening, you're talking about things that are important, you're honoring your spouse. Remember, continue to honor each other with all of these things, making sure you're staying open and honest about how you feel. And you need to agree on where you're going. It doesn't mean that how you get there is going to be the same strategy. One person might be very analytical. Again, the other one might be just that free spirit, right? Where they only want to know, how well did we do this month? Did our net worth increase? They want to know that, they want to get down to the point, and you might be the one who just likes all the details. That's fine, as long as you're still on that same path towards where you want to go. And remember to speak life, because how you speak to each other matters. I say this all the time. How you speak to yourself matters, but more importantly, how you speak to your spouse matters. What you say to them. Do not put your spouse down because they don't like to spend and you do, or vice versa. Okay, wherever the shoe fits, because this is what can cause a gap or a deficit in our relationships. And I'm so grateful to the viewer who asked this question, because if you did, it means you really need some assistance in trying to break whatever cycle that is there that is preventing you from coming together. Now, speaking life is important, because you don't want to speak down to your partner and then have them shut you out, because that can wreak havoc on your finances. Even if you don't see the goalpost yet, it can still happen. Even if you have not gotten to the place where your debt has been decreased by 50% or whatever your goalpost is, it can still happen. Faith is blind. You understand? Because we don't know what can happen from 1 minute to the next. I have faith that I would get on here, do this live, and nothing adverse would happen. That maybe no planes will fly overhead. My Wi-Fi is excellent. I have faith for that. But I don't know for sure how it's going to go. But I do know that I can still get my message across, and just apply that concept to your relationship. When you speak the things that don't seem like they're happening, but you know that you agree, you and your partner agree, hey, we want $1 million by age 50. We want $1 million net worth by 50. That's just a goal I just threw out there randomly. Then you both are going to get there. It might not seem like it now if you're in the negative, or maybe the market was down, or your partner spent $500 on a pair of shoes, something radical, and you're thinking, how are we going to get there? Again, I'm going back to the point of having separate bank accounts and making sure that your budget, because you meet together, right? You're dating regularly, you're having money conversations, you're trusting each other, you're brainstorming, budgeting your goals together. One person may want the details, the other person doesn't. It doesn't mean that you can't sit for 5, 10, 15 minutes and talk about, well, what's most important to you for the family? Do you want to have vacations every year? Do you want to send all the kids to college? Do you want to pay for their weddings, or whatever the goals are? You may not have children, but whatever the goals are, make sure you know what your partner wants, because then you can make sure you know how much money are we allocating for your spending money. So if your spouse spends $500 on a pair of shoes, it's not going to hurt your family's budget. It's not going to hurt your goals because you've already included that in your budget, right? And you can't, Rome wasn't built in a day. So that means wherever you want to go, it does not necessarily mean it's going to happen in a month or 2 months. And again, it depends on your income, it depends on your expenses, it depends on lots of things. But it takes time to build. It takes time to build, to rebuild trust if trust is broken. It takes time to develop the habit of planning with your spouse, having those regular conversations, especially when life gets busy. But it can be done. Communicate, compromise, and speak life. And the simple part is do your part and watch God fill in the gaps everywhere else. I feel like these are important tips for all of us to hold on to, hopefully. And now I just don't want to be talking to the screen. And, I know that it is lunchtime for most of you, most of us. Let me know if you have questions or if you have something to add to how you can budget with your spouse or your partner, and tips that people can use to make it easier. And hopefully, if you don't have separate accounts, you definitely should, but you should agree on one thing: how much are we allocating to spending money, so that one spouse doesn't feel like they're deprived. And somebody's gonna not like something and the other person might like something, but again, if you remember what you're agreeing on and you bring that up during your meetings, that could certainly temper any kind of high, attitudes or spirits, when it's like, well, I really want to go on this vacation. But if you don't have the money in your budget, then you kind of have to pull back a little bit and say, okay, well, can we compromise? Maybe you'll get 50% of what you want right now, and then we'll give it 2 months, or we'll give it a quarter, and then we'll adjust the budget again. I'm going to the comments now. I agree. Separate spending is smart. He is the spender and I'm the opposite. That sounds like me, because I really don't like to spend money. If I spend it, I'm telling you, I start to feel like this is making me nervous and this is giving me anxiety, and I don't want anxiety. So I love to save. I love seeing the account balances, where they should be. So I get that. But definitely having your own, I love that me and my husband have our own separate accounts. And another reason why is because your spouse may want to do something special for you and they don't want you to see it coming from the joint account. They don't want to see it coming on the credit card statement. Some people want to be surprised. I like to be surprised. So that's another reason. It keeps the happiness in the relationship, right? One person might be the one doing the family budget, taking care of that, and the other person might just along for the ride, but they still have an input because the two have become one, right? Hierarchy says, I believe there should be 3 budgets per individual and 1 for the entire unit. Can you explain what you mean by 3 budgets? 1 per individual and 1 for the unit. So if the unit, meaning us, like a husband and wife. So the husband has his own budget, personal budget. The wife has her own personal budget, and then there's one for the family. Is that what you mean? Because that makes sense. But my husband doesn't like to budget. Some people, their spouses are like, I don't need to do that, But again, once, like I'll use this as an example. Once I send my husband whatever cash or whatever Zelle transfer of what he wants, you spend it how you want. I can't make him budget or want to, right? Because you can't make your spouse do something that they just don't like doing. But we definitely need to have a family budget. Yeah. I like that. Hi, D. D has some awesome savings challenges, you guys. If you have not checked out her Amazon storefront, please go ahead and do that, because the girl has been busy. I'm sorry, the woman has been busy. So please check her out. So yeah, I like that idea. And I think we should definitely talk about, you know, how to do it so it's not so overwhelming, because it's not overwhelming for me. I could do a budget all day. I love crunching numbers and using my spreadsheet, writing down things on a blank sheet of paper. Like, to me, just brain dumping and getting those things out, because hello, I could crunch the numbers for you. How much money do you need to save for this trip that you want to take, or the stereo equipment, or that guitar you wanted? This is how much you need to save for it. I would do a budget for my husband, but again, he's adverse to it. And what are you guys eating for lunch? I don't have anything right now because I was preparing for this and I had a lot going on this morning. And I don't think I said hello to you. Sunset Virtual Solutions, thank you so much. I hope that you are still finding some value in it. Oh, Mandy is back. Okay, so you're back. Okay, welcome back. Are there any other topics or any other questions or concerns? Just curious, does one child get a larger allowance because their love language is different? Is it based upon age? Could it be that the lesser allowance child wants to save instead? Well, for me, my children, there's a pretty big gap between my oldest and my youngest children. So my oldest is a teenager. He's a freshman in high school. And so we have a short amount of time to save for him, again, for like those high school events, junior prom, senior prom, class trips. And teenagers are, in a way, they're very conscious about how they look and how they present themselves. And it's that kind of FOMO sort of thing, or if it's not FOMO, it's just like wanting to fit in, wanting to stand out, wanting to be different. So for him, he would probably get a little more. But let's say my 3-year-old really doesn't need as much, and they do enjoy saving more, because what do they really need other than pull-ups for nighttime sleep or their favorite snack from the store? They're not really hard to please, the younger ones. But my oldest, he wants more things. He wants cell phone. He wants $1,000 trips at the mall, things like that. So we would, it's based on your family dynamic and um what what suits them best, right? What suits your family best. But yeah, the older one gets a little bit more, the youngers don't get as much. And they all have their own high yield savings account. So what I like to do is, every time we can, we put money from different sources and we send it to their high yield savings account. So what we save for our children in cash is not even comparison to what is in their savings accounts. But if you have an older child who is closer to, let's say, graduating high school, you might want to save a little more aggressively for them as opposed to the younger children. That's just my take. If you think something different, let me know. And you're welcome, Angel. Hi, Shalise. I love to say for the unknown. That's it. That's important too, because you don't know what could happen. It's hard to calculate life being life, right? So, Tasha, I commend you for being very attentive to the growth stages of your family. Thank you. Yeah, I try. I try to. So, yeah, we've been on for 34 minutes. Are there any other questions? Does anybody want to share their thoughts about today's live topic? Or do you have other topics that you would like to discuss in the future? Let me know. 2 p.m. on the 9th. I can do that. I don't see any more comments coming in. I'll give it a minute or two. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Like, I don't even know how to say it, with, the words escape me, but I really appreciate that very much. And I hope that you all are finding some value here. I think it should be easy to. It shouldn't be complicated. I mean, we can go into a whole lot of deep things when it comes to, marriage and how to deal with money and trust and all those things. But sometimes it just starts with the basics. You have to crawl before you walk. So, okay. Well, I do want to say thank you again to everyone who was in my life from 2 weeks ago, where I was it stopped short, and I appreciate prayed and was praying for me. You guys are really amazing. You are an amazing group of people, and I mean that sincerely. And everything is fine. Things happen. Life is happening. But all I know is all things work together for our good, according to those who love the Lord. That's just me, and that's where I believe. So I'm not going to fall back on any of that. I'm just standing on it. So I really want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for everyone who reached out, who commented, who watched the video and liked it, even though it was kind of choppy. But we can't always be all perfect. So I really appreciate you for sticking through that video with me and staying here. It means a lot. It means a whole lot. Oh, I'm seeing some more comments come in. Thanks for sharing your lunch and personal knowledge with us today. This is my first live visit, but not my last. You're welcome. I'm trying to make sure I keep the schedule posted in my community post, or on the community post, or in the community post. So if you're follow me on Instagram if you're not, because I'm trying to make sure I post the topic schedule there too. I like doing this every Thursday. I feel like we get a real chance to get to know each other a little bit more, and then I can get to answer viewers' questions and stuff like that. Took years for us to get on the same page. Sometimes you have to let things crash and burn, and that's a hard pill to swallow right now. Crash and burn, because you if you want to get to the good stuff, you've got to go through the hard seasons. It's impossible to skip past it for the other person to see. Talking didn't help at first, but the eviction notice did. That's a powerful statement. I remember you talking about that on your channel too. Sometimes it's like that. I don't have a story like Shalise. Shalise's testimony is amazing, and I'm sure if everybody's here, you got to know who Shalise is. Come on, if you don't, please go subscribe, because she is. Before I tell my story, I just updated my book of dividends for February. I'm excited. So y'all wait till the video. It's coming out next week. But one of the things that happened after we had our youngest son, we kept paying overdraft fees, right? And then the savings account that we had, which is now our emergency fund, at the time, if your balance was below $300, they charge you a maintenance fee. And we were paying that maintenance fee every day. So it was just easy. And so eventually I got fed up and I said, you know what? I'm going to start an automatic transfer to the savings. What do you think about it? And he was like, yeah, that's a good idea. We need to save more. We need to save more. But then when I told him the amount, I said it's going to be $5 a week. He scoffed at me. He's like, that's nothing. You know how like Caribbean people, they kiss their teeth, they kind of suck their teeth a little bit. But the reality was, at the time, we were just starting budgeting. We just had our baby. He was a few months. That is exercising your savings muscles. And even though it was an annoyance to see, oh, it's only $5, it's only $5, every $5 adds up. And because of that consistency, even though it took a while, it took a year, maybe more than a year, to get to a substantial amount in that savings account, we still did it. So it's hard because sometimes, you know, if you have a spouse who's not on the same page, it can be hard to like go to bed with each other much, but this is where we are right now. And it can feel tense, but after you get through the really rough stuff, it gets easier. But you have to go through the rough stuff. What Shalise said is right. I love it. Oh, I see Tara and Cash Locks in Life. I was watching your videos this morning. You are amazing. So keep being amazing, please. Okay. Hello everyone. Welcome to Journey to Wisdom and Wealth. It's your girl Tara. If you're not a part of the Grateful Gang button, Grateful Gang, I just love her. She's my friend. I love her. All right. Have a great day and thank you for being here. You know what usually happens at the end of these lives once the whole presentation is over, we just kind of chill out and talk a little bit. Have I been going in and out, or did you go in and out? I hope I haven't been skipping too much because the planes are really flying out today. All right. I love you too. So what was I saying? I was kind of just really excited about Shalice's comment. I'm going to highlight it again because this part here, sometimes you have to let things crash and burn for the other person to see. Sometimes you just have to prove them wrong. That was my story. You have to prove them wrong. But that's it for have a great rest of the day. It's almost the weekend, so make sure you budget your money. Continue to mind your money, everybody. Manage it well and live your lives abundantly. I'll talk to you guys next Thursday. Okay? Bye for now.